Let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is the community challenge, which is due next week, Thursday. And the awesome part about this challenge is that the winner gets to participate in a critique hour call with me. So we'll be going live together if you're comfortable with that and if you're okay with that. It's a really cool way of getting to know you guys, and I plan on making this reward style. I plan on using it indefinitely in critique hour challenges, which should be really, really fun. And it's nice being able to speak to you guys, which is outside of critique hour and Discord calls. I mean, outside of private tutoring Discord calls, I don't really talk to you guys. We used to hang out a lot on Google Hangout. Now I'm starting to just ramble on like an old person, but remember back in Google Plus Hangouts, I used to just open them up through Facebook, and you guys used to just come in and we'd all just sit and chill together and sketch together. But ever since Google Plus went down, I haven't really been doing much of that. So it should be really cool to sit down with one of you and talk to you and critique hour together, and maybe it'll be the start of a beautiful friendship. Who knows? Hi, John. What program? So to get to the community, you just have to go to istebrak.com and click on the Reddit icon here. And here's where it's going to be. So follow me on Instagram for daily sketch challenges, by the way. I host them daily. So they're really cool. If you are having trouble finding inspiration, I do little prompts through my Instagram stories. Every single day I try to. And they're really cool. They're pretty thematic, like they follow the theme of the season. So there's just been a lot of Halloween stuff recently. And then hopefully towards the winter, we'll do a lot more Christmassy stuff. And then here it is, the Halloween Community Design Challenge. Please read through it. Remember that these are required textures. These are not optional. You must also incorporate these textures and embed them into the story in some way. So it could be a deep forest with a watery little pool, and a metallic surface on the character, or some kind of magical element and tattered fabric. These are really, really simple textures to add. They're not too difficult or require too much thinking. So yeah, read through this. It's going to be really, really fun picking the winners. The winners will be picked most likely the day before. So if you're handing in stuff on the 28th, it is due on the 28th, but if you're handing it like 5 minutes before class, you most likely won't even be considered as a winner. So the earlier you hand it in on the day of the 28th, the easier it will be for me to decide whether or not I'm awarding that day, meaning I'll be on a call with you, whoever you are, that day for the Halloween critique hour. Ideally, I'd love to have the call with the student, with the winner that day on the, before Halloween. But if it doesn't work out and posts are being handed in a little too late, in the majority, I'm going to just assign a new November challenge, winter challenge, or Christmas challenge where I will have them sit in with me. But I'd really, really like to see you guys on the 28th. Everyone handing in their submissions on the 28th. It should be really cool. And that's it. Portrait Studio is on sale, as well as my brushes, and keep an eye out on my store. I will be submitting some new products there, mostly specialty portrait lessons. Anyone who is interested in private tutoring, but it's a little bit out of their budget or a lot out of their budget, I'll be doing equivalent. Obviously, it's not one-on-one and there's no diagnostics or curriculum, but it is still a solid 2-hour possibly lesson. I plan on having like 3 hours of footage and then maybe dividing it into different groups of videos I'll package together as one lesson to be sold online for portraits. So it'll be like a specialty lesson that you can buy online. Comes with homework, comes with all that stuff, so it should be really cool. And moving on. So I'm going to take a look at this piece today, and I'm going to try my best to push it as far as possible, just like I've been doing. John Google's attempt at a social program. Good. It's going to be too good. No, it sounds fine. All right. So for this piece, the problems with it are that it's just lines, and you've not really done anything with the lighting. So I will tell you what the lighting is that you need to do, and you'll do it. I'll tell you what it is that you're missing and the different options you have. But you know, it's apart from that, you really don't have a wide variety of options at the moment. And I was talking about this with my other student in private tutoring, and we just Googled some league splashes, which is what everybody's after nowadays. They're so hot right now. And let's talk about what it is that makes them league splashes. And league does not spare any expense when it comes to the pizzazz, when it comes to the showmanship, like the, what's the word? I'm missing it here. They just spare no expense when it comes to I don't know what the word is. They spare no expense. So their budget is high when it comes to lighting. Their lighting budget is high. So I'm in class currently, so oh, that's cool. The artist is here today. So the common denominator between all of these is that they are all partial or full silhouette. But let's look at this Azir one. Almost complete silhouette. And with very simple front lighting, kind of like a bounce or ambient lighting to reveal some of the major components. I wouldn't say this is their best splash. I'd say their nicest splash would be, in my opinion, this one, which is just gorgeous. I love everything about it, and it is also a silhouette. So it's a common factor between all of them because it's very easy to have light behind a character, because it's very easy to stage like that. When you have a character on a stage, the stage light is usually behind them, and ahead of them, on top of them, and there's minor lights in the front to kind of reveal the character, especially with moody, you know, grungy, all that hullabaloo, all that good stuff. So what you want to do is remember that a silhouette isn't just Istebrak's favorite kind of lighting. It's not just you know, something fun to do. It's a very go-to I'm missing the word. It's the word is all about that glamour. So it's like a very go-to glamour shot lighting that's great for revealing character silhouettes, especially because it's a character-based game. It's all about the art. It's all about selling skins and all of that in the toxic community. So let's work from that. But not just because, oh, silhouettes are fun and there's all this glamour to them and they're hella cool, but because it is logical and realistic to apply a silhouette in this case, because we seem to be in some kind of valley with the light behind the character. It's also super cheesy to put the light right on the character. It's actually really bad lighting because you're revealing too much. When you put the light behind the character, you dress the character in a silhouette that reveals their form, their full character silhouette, but also applies a sense of mystery to the character. I'm a full participant of the Toxic League community. I spare no no bad talk when I'm leaguing. It's just part of the league experience. I'm sorry if they're trying to factor out the fact that we can't shit talk our enemies. What's the point anymore of playing that fucking game? So I'm gonna apply this character to it. Apply a silhouette on them. Separate them from the background. Separate them from the background. And see where we go from there. So the lighting is behind them. We have very, very strong gesture, strong character that is kind of like a wanted little highway train thief. What are they called? The train thieves? God, I'm forgetting everything today. What are they called? The people who rob trains. Bandits. She seems like she's a bandit. Yeah, bandit. I got it. Thank you. Yeah, so they're the bandits, you know, desert aesthetic. So what you want to do is think about the last time you saw bandits and all of that. And last time I saw that was in Penny Dreadful. Before that was in that Johnny Depp movie with the Native American Kimosabi guy. What's his name? Yeah, and I think before that, kind of, sort of, Harry Potter and like the train. It's not there was no train heist in Harry Potter, I don't think, or there was. You know, so you always think of a dark scene, kind of a dark experience. So there's a lot of blues, a lot of black, a lot of dirty kind of sand color, kind of foggy sort of stuff. So even if it's a children's game, even if it's supposed to be some kind of League splash, half cartoony, sort of child-friendly, I would not say League is child-friendly. You still want to apply a little bit of that darkness to it. Before that, I think the other heist movie was the Golden Egg, Puss in Boots, and the goose, and the golden egg, and Humpty Dumpty, and the little golden leotard he wore. So that there's a lot, wherever you see that in movies, they're always using a dark filter in those kind of bandit desert heist stuff. So I'm going to try to do that. I separated her because she's in a terrible spot in the illustration. Absolutely terrible spot. She's in the bottom right corner. Her feet are cut off. She's doing this jumpy gesture that's kind of really cool and athletic and sporty and everywhere, but she's grounded at the base, or we can't even see her feet. When a character is doing some kind of lungy open gesture jump like this, you want to show the full character's body so we can get the full feel, the full energy of the character. You don't want to just cut off their feet because, okay, they're jumping, but we can't see their feet. That's really awkward. So what I'm doing now is I'm just patching this all up as best as I can. And then we will get into the silhouette, and you'll see how immediate the read is. The read is actually really crazy. As soon as I apply the silhouette, you'll see it work. But I will kind of go ham on the character's face as well and see what I could do there. So my brain is all over the place. I almost didn't do critique hour today because I have a really bad migraine. I should probably drink some water. Yeah, so I'm just doing what I can here. And then you've got your lines. So I just want to know, what's this obsession you guys have with lines? Did you just see an Instagram post where someone had like a nice like line art and then they added color? Let me tell you something about lines. They're not that great. They don't do that much for you, and they don't really complete the illustration in any way. They just distract you. They don't offer any kind of cool texture, a boost or anything. They're there at a cost. Write that back to me. Lines are there in your illustration at a cost to you. They're not there. Crap, I forgot to take out this thing. They're not there to improve the realism in any way. To keep them is to know you're sacrificing some realism. Do you understand? And some people do. Some people are very aware the lines are doing this, and they keep them because they just want the line look. They're either getting paid to keep it, it's for some kind of game style, it's some kind of anime style. So remember, a line is not an investment, a good investment. It does not have any return on it. It's just you're literally paying to have a line. And when you're paying to have less quality, it means you have no more quality, really. Do you understand where I'm going with this? That as an investment, it's a bad investment because you're losing more than you're getting back. It's not even an investment anymore. It's just loss. So remember that as artists, you're applying a thing that promises to damage your art. So like, why would you apply it to your work if it's promising to damage it? Select inverse, and I'm just deselecting, grabbing that. So if lines were a dialogue, it would be like, oh yeah, you can keep me in your work, but I'm going to ruin it. But you know, I'm going to look good doing it. But that doesn't make any sense. You know, I'm going to look good on my own. Lines are going to look good on their own. But with everything, they don't cooperate with edges. They don't cooperate with textures. They don't cooperate with with yeah, textures and edges really, and lighting. They don't cooperate with that at all. They just stick their middle finger up at the lighting, and the lighting in this case is like God. So they're just like sticking their middle finger up at God. And they're like, fuck you, I'm lines, I can do what I want. Again, what are you getting? What is the real benefit of lines? I don't know why you guys still have them. I mean, I hope today you stop after today, but we'll see. You guys just love getting punished by your lines. And you forget that you get so much back when you get rid of them. The edge is like, yo, I'm the edge. I'm here at your service. I'll make everything look great. I'll work with the light source. I do not damage your work. I do not damage your art. I actually improve it. I let the light do all the talking. I don't try to butt in, and I am not in any way. It's basically lines are Trump. Basically, like they think you need them, but I hope you go to jail. All right, so I cleaned all that up, added a little bit of atmospheric perspective over here, and then I will go back to your character. So we have her here. She's doing a jumpy jump. I'm going to go ahead and give her a crazy gesture. I'm just going to tilt her over because this crazy jump she's doing like this athletic leap, you know. Oh, she's wanted and she's doing a leap, you know, like all that good stuff. So I'm going to separate some stuff. This is horizontal. What am I doing? Oh, you wrote the, I thought it was backwards for some reason. So I'm going to leave the wanted poster somewhere here in the foreground. Usually wanted posters are like somewhere in the foreground for these kinds of illustrations. You don't want them in the background. You want the background to just be the light. The character's doing this jumpy jump. And then I'm going to make her look like she's lunging a little bit more. She's like, wee, I jumped over the bandit cart thing. And then she's kind of got her legs like that. Okay, so there's the heel. What's she doing with her other leg? All right, so I just gave her some feet. And she's like, wee. And then I'm gonna fix this strange rock you've got here because it's a bit strong for just a simple little rock in the background. I'm just gonna give it a bit less of a presence. It seems a bit geometric and kind of useless. So I'm just gonna give it more of an organic silhouette and get it out of the way. Get more breathing room behind her. I don't know. Do I want to do that? Because it's nice now that she has a little kind of like a canal of light coming through. Okay, and then I'm gonna grab the chest, and the chest seems to be in a good spot, really. I don't have a big problem with it. I kind of want to move this now over here, which is nice this way. Just flip it upside down as if it's being blown away by the wind. And then I need to make the character look like she's actually jumped. Maybe she's on her way down, so she hasn't jumped up. Usually when a character is jumping in an illustration, we're illustrating their movement down, because it's just more fun seeing the character descend with all that stuff flying in the air still. So you might want to consider that. We usually, in movies, don't really take our time with the upper movement on a trampoline. It's usually the downward motion that people are always filming. You know, falling down, tumbling down a mountain, heroic slide down, heroic landing down, and then all of that stuff trailing behind them, samurai style. So I'm just trying to make it look like there's like a trailing effect with all of the elements on her. All right, and now the face. So the face is very flat. And I'm going to make her look like she's looking this way. You could also make her look like she's looking down and behind her at the people behind her who she just escaped from and alley-ooped away from. And then you kind of want to make her look like she also is having a lot of fun, but can also be a little bit of a mischievous character. So you can lower the inner eyebrows for that evil, not evil, but like definitely a trickster type character. You said she's pepper and something else. She's basically like a pepper fire character, which is really cool. So I need to raise her eyebrows up to show she's having fun, but I need to also add in that, you know, that troublemaker expression. And then the mouth is a little bit outside. It's not really following the perspective of the face. So you say, oh, I'm doing cartoony. Good cartoony follows perspective still. Write that back. Cartoony work, good quality cartoony stuff still follows perspective. Meaning that it just because it's cartoon doesn't mean that you don't really rotate and you have bad three-quarter view and you don't have any longitude or latitude lines on the face, or you don't have any symmetry. Even like the flat Cartoon Network stuff still, oh no, am I offline? Am I still offline? It just gave me a notice that I'm offline. Am I offline? I'm having network outages in my area, so they'll just happen. It's not, crud. Yeah, it's telling me I'm offline though. It's not OBS. Oh, it is OBS. Oh shit. Yeah, did I leave? Hopefully it reconnects. Just a hiccup, maybe refresh. Well, it's not. Refreshing won't help me. Right, so cartoony stuff needs perspective to stay good quality. I'm going to shrink her nose a little bit. And then in a second, I'm just going to start rendering and seeing what I can do. Hopefully it stops disconnecting. If it does keep disconnecting, there's really nothing I can do. It's just my network, it's my area, winter storm, not winter storm, fall, autumn, all that stuff. There's crazy wind speed in my area, so every single year it does this. So I'm just gonna keep going. And then just to make it look like she is trailing, I'm gonna make it look like the arm is also following her down. So the arm is trailing down. All right, so I'm gonna disconnect the arm and just kind of let it be like, you know, she's just falling down, so the arm is still high, and she's just on her way down. She also jumped a little bit, so I'm just gonna patch this up. All right, and then we'll finally get into fixing the silhouette and completing the scene. So all this stuff that I did, what would you say is the fundamental term to represent all the changes that I just made? So what are some fundamental, what's some fundamental terminology for these changes? All right. And I'm okay. Still a little bit stiff, but I want it to look like she's on her way down, kind of jumping. And then I'm going to fix the perspective on the face, which is going to make her look a little cuter and a little bit more mischievous, which is to kind of lower her head as she's falling. So body movement, composition, and anatomy. Good job. Composition. Good. Gravity, that's a good one. Gravity is definitely a fundamental. I could say it is one of the fundamentals that people forget about, factoring it in to a character standing. So, you know, laws of physics are easily placed as fundamentals. They can easily be associated as fundamentals, like rotation and symmetry are pretty much laws of biology and physics, right? So, or volume, geometry, 3D space. So yeah, I would say gravity is a good fundamental too. Right, so I added a little bit of that. And then finally, I'm going to increase the size of her head. So the size of her head is nice and you know, well placed at the moment, but I think a little bit bigger would also help the character. As well. And then now that we have the character all done and she's no longer feeling awkward, I might increase her size in the canvas, just because if this was a splash, we would really need to see, oops, her feet were not connected. Just because if it was a flash, you know, a splash, sorry, we would not be seeing a tiny character. We would see someone a little bit bigger. Okay, so now the fun stuff. Alrighty, I can't wait. So I kind of turn this all the way over. Maybe there's a couple of these wanted posters flying around. I might add a couple more. Okay, so I'm going to do a collective darken. So using a nearby blue of some kind, maybe just pulling from what's visible on the clouds there. I'm going to darken the whole character, and I'm going to lower this over the character in the foreground. So she's a bit dark. I'm not going to decide how much until I know exactly what's happening in the background. So then I'm going to lighten up the background. Not just that, kind of really mess with that background color a little bit. I'm going to have different tiers. So this object here is going to have a slightly less dark color. Actually, it was fine the way it was. And then I'm going to give some tiers for the background elements. So a bit more blue. I was saying I'm offline again. A bit more blue. That's probably my cat. She doesn't like when I teach, so I'm pretty sure that's her disconnecting my modem. Right, and then I'm going to decide where that sun is coming from. So yeah, I'm going to dodge that top part of the sky, bring in that white, and just throw in some white there. And then I'm going to just bring in a burn tool on midtones and darken this section, just so that we have different tiers in the background. All right, and then she is too bright in the before, so this is just fine. And then I'm going to desaturate her just a little bit. Okay, so we're already moving toward really, really nice composition. So let's just look at the before from here. If you want to keep it here, you want to stop here, go ahead. You can. This is basically how you'll improve the where it was before. So look at how awkward it was before. She doesn't even look happy. She looks kind of distressed just because of that inner eyebrow kind of being a bit too high. You have her on the bottom awkwardly jumping, but not really, because we can't even see her feet. When you jump, you can see someone's feet. That's the point of a jump, is that they raise their legs. You're hiding a character's feet during a jump. What are you doing? Is this how she walks? Does she have a physical disability? Does she need some, like, the crutches? Is she on an invisible wheelchair? I'm not making fun of disabled people. I'm just wondering what the hell you're doing, hiding her feet. So before, after. So this alone has helped. You know, everything is flying. She just jumped off a caravan of some kind, and everything is crazy and hustly bustly, and you know, it feels like it's chaos, the same kind of chaos this character would create. So I think I messed up the feet when I lassoed, but let me just fix them now. Oh, God. All right. So yeah, I'm not making fun of disabled people. I'm just wondering, is she on an invisible wheelchair right now? Is that what it is? Why are you hiding her feet? Oh my God, I'm gonna get in so much trouble, aren't I? And I'm just doing that. Then I'm just gonna render the face. I'm just gonna go for it. So I'm having crashes left, right, and center today, and crap, so I'm just gonna save this as a PST. Okay. When does illuminated background make the character illuminated as well, if that makes sense? When it's not a character, when the character's facing the light. So if it's like if it's a divine character and you want them to be drenched in light, you take the shot. But it's bad camera work to make a character stare at the light and the camera stare at the character and the light be between you and the camera. Because again, when you look at those league splashes, they're all silhouettes of some kind, of some level. So let's go crazy. Let me just Istebrak this face real quick. So so I'm just adding realism. At this point, that's why I'm separating composition, framing, and rotation from me realifying this illustration. Because this is now me. This is now what I brought to the illustration outside of the fundamental changes. So this is the stuff I want to see. I would want to see in an illustration, bringing it to kind of like league realism. So I'm going to give her a slight eye socket, shadow, and some gentle radial shades. Put my glasses back on. So you see how even, you know, outside of learning how to paint faces realistically, you have to learn how to frame stuff cinematically. Cinematic framing and composition is as big as learning how to paint a realistic face. Write that back. Every day, I'm just pressing on the pen tool like I've done. Alrighty. And then thinking about where the ambient light is coming from, which is going to be on her nose. And I'm going to make sure the edge and have her eye socket reveals the nose. I'm going to have a little shadow under the nose, tiny little cast shadow there, just blocking in basic stuff. I want to add that little cheeky grin here, actually giving her a pretty big cheek value, which is just a core shadow for a simple sphere. Her smile is a little awkward at the moment, so I feel like it's not natural just because of my liquefies. I feel like she should be, you know, her mouth should be open. Kind of be like yelling like, yeah, but let's just keep it simple. Just like that, just like a grin. I'm gonna darken the lower teeth a little. And then bring in the pupil and the iris and all that other detailing stuff. I'm gonna try to work fast. Okay, so again, I'm just rendering right now. So that's why I'm not talking as much, because it's not so much fundamentals anymore, but you know, it is when it comes to the anatomy choices I'm making, like the eye socket, radial shading and stuff. That stuff I've covered in other classes a great deal, and I'll also be covering it in those video tutorials that will be on my store. Probably the only video tutorials I'll be selling. Everything else I do is pretty much free. But I think it's time I kind of did some specialty courses and add some more stuff into my store. Excuse me. This is amazing already. I am always afraid of posting some of my art because I'm not finishing in realism. So I appreciate that you separated the stages for composition and staging. You're very welcome, Thomas, and thank you for being here with us, and thank you for giving us your art so that we could use it as an educational opportunity for everyone. Excuse me, I just had a frog try to come out of my throat. Is my familiar? All right, so I'm bringing in some highlighter now for all of the highlighter points in here. And I talked about this with a lot of my other students. It's like, where do I learn all this cinema stuff? Well, from movies. I mean, it's in the description, you know, you learn it by looking at the best scenes in movies. And League isn't just this, oh, you know, League has changed art, or League is doing some amazing stuff. League should make a movie. First of all, no, it's probably going to suck. Second, League is just working off the League artists are just working off the fundamentals that already exist in the world. They're used in film, they're used in animated movies, they're used in everything. This is just basic framing, basic making sure that the object is centered, that the object is feeling high energy, that the scene feels like it's a connected sequence from the previous shots, that the you know, like it's high energy, the shot before, crazy chase, and the characters carrying that energy from another scene, thinning out the eyebrow here, thickening it towards the inside, just like eyebrows do. And I'm just rendering. I'm just rendering based off what I know about portraits. It's really nothing unique in any way. I'm gonna give her a little nostril. Tiny details that really don't mean much when you zoom out, but just enough to add that high resolution feel to the painting. The mouth is still bothering me. I feel like I don't even know how to paint mouths. And then I'll color balance a little bit because the colors are still all wacky, I think. And I'm gonna kind of increase her teeth, or just give a little evil kind of toothy bit to it. And then show where the bottom teeth are with a different shade. And some slight line work, just for wherever they stack. And then another thing you could do is just show how she's having so much fun. So you kind of squint her eyes, and she's kind of like giddy with excitement as she's stealing money from this train thing that we've decided is happening. In her corners. And then just getting dodged. I'm working so fast. I'm like on overdrive. And I'm just going to illuminate the inside of her eyes. And the teeth still bother me. And I'm going to show the chin value here. And her gesture is still extremely awkward. Like it still feels really awkward. But again, that's my stuff and what I'm doing, and it's how it combines with what you're doing. And we're going to try to find a balance. I feel like all this stuff here should be lifted up so we can see her shoulder line, and I'm just going to add some simple trailing hair to show she's on her way down. And then I'm going to give her a bit of a, less muscle structure on her arm just to make her look a little bit more pixie-ish and less like a heavy hitter. But if she's like a poppy type character where she's supposed to be thickened, then you can just thicken her arms. And then because she's jumping, athletic, you know, forward chest motion, the whole chest area should be a little bit up. It's not so much sticking her butt out, it's just showing how she's a little athletic. So she's kind of like jumping a little bit, and she's got a straight spine during the jump. And one thing I really want to do is mess with this bandana and kind of make it overlap her face a little bit, but we'll see. And one thing I want to do, so see how she looks a little bit more energetic after the liquefy. She's just kind of pushing her chest forward. One thing I want to do is get these legs to do different things, because right now they're a little bit, she kind of looks like she's squatting, and it feels like she could be doing something like that where one leg is slightly behind. Just a little something simple like this. And oh my lord, I'm almost done. And then I'm going to grab the sand color, use it on the far left. My neighbor decided to pick right now to do some weed whacking, so that's what you hear. I have not soundproofed my room yet. Thank you, Bob. I'm going to darken the foreground wanted poster. Do that. And then I'm going to put some light behind her. Since it's a desert and there's glare, there should be like a lot of that light behind the character. And then I'm going to, oh my lord, there's so much I'm doing. And then I'm going to darken the chest a little bit. And I'm going to let some of these gems catch some subsurface scattering light. You know, they should look really cool once we're done with them. So it's almost like she's a dwarf that kind of just stole her gems back or something like that. So I use the basic blue to darken the character. And then now I'm going to spot saturate. So I'm going to pick what is important and I'll saturate it. So I'll saturate her cheeks, her character here, add a little bit of redness there, her bandana, her hair could use a bit more saturation, the greens here. I'm not sure what these daggers are made of, but I'm trying to figure out if I want to fix that belt. I'm not sure if they're going to be subsurface. And then I'm just going to do some simple rendering for the arms. So shadow because of the silhouette. And then a very basic white, just the most simple white, low opacity to kind of bring the arm out of the shadow. Maybe a bit of pink in there too. And then again, I feel like she could use her neckline back. I feel like it's not really doing much to hide it. It feels very awkward, this whole area. And I'm gonna add the bandana back. Very stiff. And then I'm gonna add a little trailing hair behind her. So as you can see, it all starts with the decision of what my light source is. What's my light source? And then from there, all your other stuff kind of starts making sense. I want to keep pushing her gesture a little bit. I want to enlarge her shape a little bit as well. It feels like she could be a bit bigger. It feels like the canvas it has room enough to cater to that. Just like this. I kind of lowered the visibility of the other leg. I kind of want to do the same thing with this arm. So this arm, I want to just make a decision, a final decision on what the hell it's doing, because it does feel very stiff. And let me tell you why. You ever bought those Barbies that have the bent arm? Barbie. Okay, so they kind of have this. See that? Thunk, thunk. That's it. And they don't really do much. They just have these two bent arms. Well, that's what you guys do with your illustrations sometimes. You guys forget you have the right, you reserve the right to do other things with your arms. And you can do much more. You don't have to bend them. You don't have to do anything. You know, that's stiff. You could just make them straight. There's really not, you don't have to, bending the arm isn't the only way to show interesting arm gestures, basically, is what I'm saying, especially if both are bent. Now, she's a dagger wielder, so I get that. Like, she's wielding some daggers, and she's you know, she's stealing some stuff. But you know, you could do other things with your arms. And I'm just trying to decide if I want to show, you know, this arm behind. Just do something a little bit more flexible than where it was before, which was conveniently placed so it doesn't stack over anything or anything like that. Okay, we could do other things with the arms. So let me just see if I have satisfied that. My brain telling me to fix the arm. Maybe make it a little less of a bend. Oh yeah, that does look nice. Looks much better. Looks very Tristana. By the way, I know I'm mentioning a lot of League. I am in no way, shape, or form a heavy League fan. It's just like the only game I have on my computer that I have time to load and play. Alright, I am not like this #1 League fan. I buy skins. I bought like one skin and I play one champ. And it's always support. And it's always Sona. I play no other champ. Alright, so I'm not over here like quoting League shit as if I'm some kind of... Don't misinterpret. Alright, and I want to move the dagger so it's a little less awkward. And I'm not about to tell you which skin because I'm not giving League any free advertisement. Oh my god, I'm gonna play the same skin as Istebrak. Maybe I'll be good at art if I do. Yeah, maybe, but you won't be good at League. God knows I'm not. Alright. And then I'm gonna tuck that down. And then I'm going to fix that shoulder. Now that I've moved the arm, the shoulder's doing different things with the arm. So I need to make sure that that all makes sense. Liquify. Oh Lord, this really was an overhaul. And I'm just making it feel more flexible. Now, I want to increase the size of the eyes because I feel like a little peppercorn girl is going to, is that right? She's gonna have these big old eyes. So I want to just push the eye size if I can. She has that crazy look, you know? And I wanna do that, so. Give her those cheeks, that chin, and then clean up the nose, finish up the other cheek because it does not have any shading on it. Try to finish up that squint in the eyes. Kind of makes her look like a crazy person. And soften the cheeks a bit. And then I'm going to add a bit of realism from the sky color on the eyes. So sometimes you get the sky color and you paint it on the eyes. And that makes it so that it looks like the character is reflecting the color of the sky, which adds that vibrance. It's a really nice little cool trick, which is used a lot in League splashes, by the way, just to make them look more realistic. They don't use them because they're League. They use them because the artists want to use them. But, you know, I've seen them a lot in League splashes. I'm going to add the shadow of the eyeball. I feel like this far eye is just not picking up that light. It's just a lot to do. And then kind of want to just make her open her mouth, you know, just like yell, just like have a, you know, I want to honor what the artist drew, but I also don't want that awkward little shape there. I feel like an open mouth would be a little bit more interesting. She's going like, yeah, woohoo! We stole from Wall Street. And then I want to give it a little bit of a volume to the lips, but because when lips smile, they kind of stretch out, so you don't really need to worry about that. And then the dark spots of the mouth, which are important. And the shadow of the lower lip, which is also important. Oi, oi, oi. I am all over the place right now. Alright. Okie dokie. And then I'm going to do some color correction. So the color correction really comes from what's the temperature of the environment? What's the temperature of the entire room? So remember how I only did a darken change? So I want to do a lighten change. So I'm going to darken her a little bit. I'm going to throw a bit of a desaturation into the background colors. And I'm going to push their color so they can be a little bit more warm for that environment. This just like really sandy environment. So look at 0, it was just really green, and I'm just going to push them more towards the reds, which should help. And then I'm going to bring the saturation tool, because they're precious gems. I'm just going to saturate them. This is where we can bring in cool saturation for the scene. You know, you don't really need to honor anything that glows is kind of its own light source, and just by default we've all just agreed that gems glow even when they don't in an illustration. We just decided that that's what we're going to do here on out in art. You know, illustrators decided. So I'm just going to make them glow a little bit. They don't glow, it's just, you know, how we draw gems, how we've interpreted them over the years. This far leg still doesn't feel far enough. It's just fake atmospheric perspective. It's just so that we can see a proper stacking between everything. And I'm just going to get the sandy color. And again, just on normal with the layer locked, I'm just going to throw that far leg into the distance a little bit, just so we could stack them. And then I'm going to darken the upper half of the canvas of her character. And deselect. Okay. Just because she's eclipsing the light a little bit. And so the light is behind her, so she's eclipsing it. And then what we can do, because if you feel like you've lost too much, we can bring in that rim light of the light being behind her, which is where all the fun comes from. So 100% dodge tool, and then you can bring in that rim light that they use a lot in League. But in order to pull that off, you need to darken the background just a little bit. So I might darken the background, but keep the background a little bit lighter. Who knows? Who knows? Let's see what I can do. This is the light behind her, shooting in. Of course, if it's going through hair or some kind of hair surface, whatever it is that this hair is made of, now this is where all the fun comes, because this, your character is starting to emerge now. It's just this forearm that's bothering me if I'm going to be adding anything to it. It looks good, whatever. And I'm going to do all of the hair like underneath and in between. I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to do a little bit on the dagger. See how we're replacing all of these lines? They're just gone. And then over here, so it's for the most part a complete frame around the character, but just don't be cheesy, you know, don't overdo it. Don't just get your dodge tool and destroy your entire painting with it. It's just a small area. But do you see, League splashes aren't that difficult to replicate, because you just have to follow a very strict set of rules for delivery. Like it's just a very concrete group of fundamentals they use, and then they just don't really break them, and they use them for every splash because, oh, this sold, so they literally have a group of people that talk about money and wearing suits sit around and say, yes, we like this one, it sold this much, it brought this much money, let's just keep using these tricks and little, you know, little things and keep the artist working in this way. Like there are real rules that go into what makes it and what doesn't in the League Splash world. You know, what they try to replicate and what they don't bother repeating, whatever sells. So I'm gonna give her a big old booty. Give her some clappers. My God, teacher, you're being so inappropriate. God. All right, and then a little bit on her arm just to show where that light is shooting in from the back. So you can still have rim light, but you still need the silhouette. Do you understand? Her knee, which is also her knee pad, which is also made of gems, I guess. All right, and then I really want to mess with this little area here. So I'm going to just make it look like it's a big solid body of subsurface, and I'm going to bring in that white just to hang out at the top of it. And then, you know, the top of her hair, may get a little bit of it, but like there's a spot where it got cut, so I paste it, and then there's the shadow of this little section, so it just gets cut like that, which is so cool. And then there's this section right there, so it doesn't really get to stay in its full highlight. And then I'll smudge it just so that it doesn't distract. Just make it a little bit more diffused. Just using my smudge brush. I want to use a little bit of bounce light somewhere on her face. Maybe there's an ambient light coming from the bottom of the screen. So bloop and then delete. And then just kind of bring all that back. See if I could salvage some of that excess shadow because she's not facing the light. So I just want to, you see, I just want to show how her face is visible a little bit. And then merging that down. All right, Istebrak, are you done at all? And then I'm going to, I feel like there could be a little gloss there, but whatever. As for the size of the face in comparison to the head, that's something that's been bothering me. I want to just increase the size of her face in relation to her head. I understand I might have made her into a bobblehead in the process, but I don't care. It just doesn't feel... It felt like the head, you know, the face was too small for the head. You see before? I don't know, maybe I fucked it up again. Ay, Dios mío. Do I want it? Do I not? Yes, I want it. All right, so then I'm going to fix this little thingamajig, this little headpiece. So the headpiece should go behind the hair. So delete, plop, lower. The little thingy should be behind her head. It shouldn't be like, you know, forcing its way out on the side. And that way you can get some more contour and appropriate shape. You see how the head should be in front? And then I'm going to finish. I'm gonna just try to finish this up because it's a little bit too lengthy. I honestly don't care much for those people who say my videos are too long, because what kind of fucking lesson, what kind of knowledge are you going to attain from a 5-minute video? Like, what are you trying to make? Like, scrambled eggs? Are you trying to make an omelet? Like, art is a lot more complicated than an omelet. Like, stick to your recipes if you just want to learn shit that takes you 5 minutes. All right? Art is a lengthy process. If my videos are too long for you, like, go home. Quit art. Just quit. Just quit. I'm literally telling you to quit art. Because if you can't sit down for a couple hours and learn something new, art is not your thing, all right? Just keep buying skins and stop trying to be something great. Whew. All right. so I feel like there should be a little bit more like shapeliness to this headpiece thing. Because it's kind of missing one of those little pricks. And then you're saying that she's made out of pepper and fire and she's supposed to look dangerous. But really, I don't see enough spikes coming out of her, you know? I feel like we're not really feeling that yet. So just add more. Add a couple more. Make her look a little bit more dangereuse. And I'm going to add like some right there, some right there. Maybe some right there. I don't make them all the same size, looking in the same direction. And then, oh, they were too small. No, this is what happens when you zoom in. Okay, almost done. And then now that I've relieved the head from the little ponytail, I can show where maybe some light sneaks in at the top of her hair. Just there. As we've established, it's now coming from this side. I really want to make it seem like her bandana is like right in front of her face, flying away. But I'm just going to be here for another hour. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So what did we learn from today's class, boys and girls? Alrighty. Sometimes we do have some bounce light coming in from the bottom to kind of reveal some stuff that's been lost. And sometimes it's sand, sometimes it's like a white thing, you know, white bounce light, just the surface shooting down from the sides. And I'm just gonna apply some to like the base of her foot, just so we can get that believable bounce light coming from beneath. And then what did I do? And then of course we have the particle effects of stuff. So we can have oh, of course, before I do that, there's so much to fucking do. See, like this is just, it's a set rule, a set number of things you do And once you do them, you have a league splash. It's not something magical or mysterious. It's just, oh Jesus Christ, what am I doing? I'm lost all of my. I'm just, see, I'm at the end. I'm just tired now. So I'm adding. So this is what I'm adding. I'm adding glare from the top to make it look like they're all this white light that's coming out of nowhere is coming from something. Oh damn it! I forgot that I want to cast the shadow of her arm on that. So, Lord help me. All right. Yeah. So it's coming from something, and then there's the shadow from the bottom, which is also the fact that we are in this little valley area. Am I selected somewhere? Oh my Lord. I'm literally about to laugh at myself. Okay, so there's a little shadow thing coming from the bottom, hanging over everything. All right. And that just creates the feeling like the lower half of the canvas is off limits for detail. This little wanted poster is fine where it is. It's supposed to be in the front, barely visible there if you look for it, type of deal. And then there is just a couple more opportunities for from light. I don't think I want to add any more. I don't think I need any more. But it feels like this area is missing some. I'm trying to get rid of all your lines. And this thing could have been like a little bit more shapely instead of it looking like a pylon. It could have looked a little bit more shapely. Maybe I could do it in liquify. I'm sorry, I'm not even looking at the comments at the moment. So what are the comments saying? Just watching the best classic movies, the way to learn cinematography. Yeah, it's a great way to get in, you know. And also, if you're into those cartoony splashes for game art, watch 3D animations. Start with like all the Shreks. They're not like the epitome of 3D animation, but they're fucking funny, and it probably sets you in a good mood to do your studies. And then go in, you know, all the Disney stuff, all of that. DreamWorks, just the top tier, better than Disney by like, they're just amazing. So I'd watch DreamWorks movies. I just watch them all, and pick my best scenes, you know, my favorite scenes, and see, you know, what is it that makes them look like that? My private students actually get assignments like this. They actually have to break down 5 minutes of a scene. Because they're just having so much trouble with their composition, and they don't know anything about film. They've never studied film, but they want to paint for film and games. Like, how are you supposed to do that? Go study some films now. And that's what they do. And they end up with amazing work. They end up with really, really, and they learn quickly. It's not necessarily an art skill to learn how to frame your pieces. It's not. It's just a really, really technical knowledge of how to frame stuff and how to work with all that. And then I'm just going to add a bit of sand just to show this gem in the foreground is in bad shape. Because it's in shadow. It's in her shadow. You can also add a shadow on these gems. Like her shadow, just like cutting through them. Just like that. Like as if she's in the way of the light. That's really cool. Something like that. And then yeah, the sand, and I'll be done. And then we can take a look at the full before and after, which is why I showed you the full before and after, because I was trying to illustrate to you how you had technical issues with your framing, and they were outside of stylization or realism, you know. Like that. I say you know a lot, I know. All right, so little particle disturbances here and there, just dust and all of that. And then I would try to like show where her little hair nub, I don't know what it's called, stub, I don't know what her spiky hair that she whips around and kills her enemies with. Anyway, so can confirm, was assigned to watch movies for 12 homework. It's mind changing. Yes. Yes, I have the exact same problem. So thank you for the direction. I finally have somewhere to start. Start with DreamWorks movies. Watch the Shrek movies. Do yourself a favor. Listen. Do yourself a favor. Watch some Shrek movies, and then go from there. There's so much that goes into one frame of a movie shot. Once you start breaking it down, it all makes sense. Yes, absolutely. Like the way they know, like one of the assignments for my students was learning what the horizon line does in a cinematic shot. So if we're looking at her jumping, we really have no, we don't have a need for the horizon line. Like I'm just leaving the horizon line just to entertain you with it, but we don't have a need for it. There's no need for the horizon line at all. We can get rid of it. Look at that. It opened the whole scene because we're looking up at her. So what technically is there that we're looking at? We don't even need to see the space behind her because it killed the motion. So all you had to really do was just add an extra little mountaintop, add it like that, and then lower its opacity so it's just somewhere in the distance. Push it over. And you're done. So the horizon, that was a good reminder to do that. So yeah, that's one of the ways we learn how to use the horizon line, by looking at the ways the horizon line is used in movies. Characters that we're looking up at while they're jumping, characters that we're looking down at while we're at a high point, and what they mean. I kind of want to blur the background just because it is also a really great trick to making the scene look more cinematic, and then blurring the wanted poster in the foreground quite a bit. Also, another great tip for making the scene more immersive. Feels very cinematic. And then because the wanted poster we're having issues seeing it, I'm just going to sandy out her shoes. Just make them a bit more sandy. The size of the canvas is great. I wouldn't say it's in a bad placement, like it's too much of a tile or anything. Any questions moving out? Moving forward, leaving, moving forward. Istebrak is watching. Okay. It's really late here, so I have to go. Good night, everyone, and thank you for the great class. You're very welcome, Iwan. I like how that opened up the canvas. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. There's so much that goes into it. Any final questions? No? All right. Full before and after. Before. So obviously it was a completely different style at this point, but the point was that look at where you placed your characters. You just put them anywhere you wanted. This isn't Legos. Okay? You don't have a set number of squares you put your characters on and you just go home. It's a little bit more complicated than that, guiding the human eye and telling a story and designing a character. And then you had no depth. You had a little bit in the background, God bless you, but you had no depth. She was jumping, but she wasn't. Is she on the ground? Are her feet on the ground? Why is she doing this gesture? Is she happy? Is she doing a jump? There are other gestures you can use instead of this invisible weird wheelchair gesture that show that she's excited if she was grounded, if her feet were on the ground. Again, I'm not making fun of disabled people. Just bear with me. And then after, I know I did a lot of work and it's a little bit more polished because of the lack of a line, so I really rendered it quite a bit. But I hope you understand the value of the silhouette, why it is that league splashes that look like this work, and it's because of that silhouette. That whole I drew a yordle. It's about that combination of silhouette, look at that, and light in the background and the rim light. It's so basic. Anybody can do it. This has a lot more rim light coming from the back, but this is just that universal white light. See, it's just white. In this case, it's kind of blue because the background is sort of blue, but you can mess around between white and blue for universal light. I don't think this is it a league splash? Why does her hair look like a sombrero? I could talk shit about league splashes all day, even though I admire them. But it's just my favorite pastime. Silhouette, rim light, light behind the character. It's all the same. Okie dokie, guys. So flatten And you saw the way I use layers. It's just very simple. Character, background, object, etc. So before, after. Thank you everyone for coming. I really appreciate you guys being here. I'm a little bit over the edge of the class. So if you want to join for the Halloween design challenge, go to istebrak.com and click on the Reddit icon here. It will take you to my Reddit, my subreddit. There's two main announcements. Follow me on Instagram, please, for the daily sketch challenges. They're just like these little sketch prompts, pressure-free. It's just fun, just sketching with people. And then the Halloween design challenge, where the winner gets to sit with me for a critique hour and talk to me about their art. And then we talk about other people's art and critique it together. And I'll try my best not to do what I did today, which is just keep going, and there's like no, usually with challenges, I don't do full paintovers like this anyways. We just chat. We just kind of chat about the submissions. And Portrait Studio is on sale along with the rest of my brushes. All the brushes I used today are on sale. And coming soon to my store is a full-length portrait specialty class. And it is for early students, for advanced students. It's just about all the techniques and all the ways to think about perfecting your portraits. It's about the general, misconceptions and bad habits that you may be going in with and how to replace them with better thinking. And it's going to be different units. It's all going to be one video, hopefully, if not like 3 main videos or 3 stages of the video. And I just have to figure out how to upload such a large file on my website, or how to sell it, but it will be available on my store soon. It's just like my great thesis of everything I've learned about portraits in a single video, and it's a great alternative for private tutoring, which can be expensive. So I'll let you guys go. Thank you everyone for coming. Open to your students only or to all? So all of you guys are my students. I'm not sure where this idea that you have to be a patron to join Critique Hour comes from. I think I miscommunicated. My whole business model is just miscommunicating something. Critique Hour is open to everyone. Anyone can join the subreddit. Anyone can join the contests. Anyone can win. Istebrak.com. The Reddit is right here. So there's no pay. You don't have to pay to be a part of this stream. Therefore, you don't have to pay to be a member in any way. I do encourage you guys, if you learned something today, to join as a $1 patron. I'd really appreciate it. I'm trying to get everyone on board for the future, for the sake of the future, when YouTube falls, when we have no connection to each other outside of, outside of Reddit. If YouTube and Reddit kind of collide, I don't know. I just want to have an insurance policy in place that keeps the community funded, keeps the community available, and keeps me doing this, keeps opening up my schedule so I can keep doing this. So I'd really appreciate if everyone did join on Patreon. If you go to istebrak.com just istebrak.com and then click on the Patreon icon. But other than that, other than Patreon, there's no payment, nothing. It's all free. Subreddit is free. Join it, submit whatever you want. And this is where I found this piece today, and I just talked about it. Thank you everyone for coming. I'll see you guys next class. Bye guys.